What it do, being crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas back with another episode of Coffee and Comments, and today we're going to review the movie Life.
Blame you for everything, Ray.
Hey, boss, he ain't working.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
You can't have my cornbread. I'm from New York City. There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
I told you what my plan was. You gonna tell me what your plan is? What you working on?
One of y'all want to help me down my back?
We gotta get out of here.
You call this a map? Don't tell me you don't know where we're going. Life.
Welcome back, being crew. Drinking on some water today, keeping it simple, nothing crazy. But today, like I said before, we're going to review the movie Life, and not the newer movie. This is 1999 Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, and this is one of my all-time favorite comedy movies. Like, legit, I've seen this movie I don't know how many times growing up, and so for me, this is a fun review because, like, this movie definitely gets, for most white people, I would say, they haven't heard of this movie. Most black people have heard of the movie Life, have seen the movie Life, can quote the movie Life. But for most people, like, Netflix putting it on their, like, black film section of Netflix, and it being, like, one of the top 10 watched movies for a little bit, it definitely opened some newer eyes to the movie Life, and it's pretty exciting to see this movie put on, like, a bigger pedestal.
Smoking California weed.
This cast is freaking, like, star-studded, and most people don't realize how many, like, stars are actually in this movie, right? You have Eddie Murphy, obviously, headliner, Martin Lawrence, headliner as well. But you also have Bernie Mac, who, you know, R.I.P. Bernie Mac, was literally one of the funniest comics ever.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
Right. You also have old dude from Juwanna Mann. I forget his name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I probably have him on the screen right now. You have Anthony Anderson, who people love today. He was a big name back then. He's even bigger name today. He's on Blackish and a lot of different shows. You have the guy who plays a villain in every other movie besides this one in Bokeem Woodbine. I did a review, one of my first reviews, where I talked about how he plays a literally anytime you see his character in the movie, he's literally always the villain. This is the only movie that I've ever seen him in that he's not the freaking villain. And his part is a big part, but it's like it's for a small portion of that movie. And there's a lot of other actors I could probably name from this movie that you've probably seen on screen. Torry being one of those. But it's a phenomenal movie. It's hilarious, right? It's a black comedy. If you guys don't know what the movie's about, you have Eddie Murphy's character, Ray, that meets Martin Lawrence's character, Claude. They run into each other at a nightclub in New York. This is set in like 1932 Harlem, right? So New York, they're at a nightclub. Claude's with his girlfriend. Ray's kind of like a guy that's like, you know, in the inner city, not inner city, but what's the word for? Kind of like in the
Today, Junior?
In the nightlife, if that makes sense. Like he's pickpocketing people, doing different things there. He knows kind of the gangsters, the mobsters, stuff like that, right? And so they both get in trouble. Claude can't pay his bill. Ray talks to the mobster to say, hey, I have this business. I can go pick up some booze down in Mississippi and head back, and we make a ton of money from basically just moonshining and bringing in illegal booze. Because during Prohibition, you couldn't get alcohol, so you had to get people to go and pick it up, right? They go down to Mississippi. They have a good time to an extent. That the scene in Mississippi in the bar is one of my favorite scenes, especially with the watch where him and Ray and Claude talking about his daddy's watch.
Fuck the money. It's not even about the money. Fuck the money. I lost my daddy's watch.
Man, fuck that cheap-ass watch, man. Oh, I apologize. It gotta stop something. You right.
One more again. See, I'll take all your front set, I swear. See how you go back to New York. That's how you're gonna be back in the car, all the way back up.
I'm sorry.
Fuck that. Say something about the watch, Claude. Bring up the watch. In fact, just bring up watch.
Ray.
Look like you fixing to make your mouth up to say watch. If I see you, I'm gonna whip your ass.
Ray.
But in fact, don't even say watch no more. You can't say watch around me. Say little clock or some shit. You say watch, I'm gonna just dive on you.
Ray.
Hilarious. Literally hilarious. One of my favorite scenes ever. He's like, "You looking for Slim?" He's like, "You found him," and he's this huge dude, like Slim, but he's this huge dude. Man, the comedy of this movie is freaking top notch. The white Sony pies, right? All this stuff happens way in Mississippi, and then they get in trouble for murder. I'm not sure what happens. You can watch the movie and figure out like why they got in trouble for murder. Wasn't their fault. 1930s Mississippi, they didn't give a damn who it was. They got framed for it. Whatever. Go to jail, right? They get life in prison. And so from there, it tells a story about them being in prison pretty much the whole life. And then like all the different like things that happen of them being in prison, you know, over the years, trying to escape, meeting different people, playing baseball, different women pop up occasionally. Like it's just a fun story that is hilarious. One of my favorite moments too, obviously the cornbread scene is pretty infamous right now. People are talking about that scene.
Eat your cornbread. You can't have my cornbread.
The scene where they're all sitting around and nobody can read, and he's reading the paper, and every single person in this dude's life that he can't read, he's like, this person died, and then the dog died. Dog got worms. And there's so many fun scenes in this movie, man. It's one of my favorite movies, right? I mean, what would a regular critic give this movie a 10 out of 10? No, they probably get like a 7 or something like that, maybe even a 6. Because it's not like the most action-packed movie, but it's just overall a good movie. For me, this is a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm not gonna give it anything less than a 10. 10 out of 10 coffee beans. I absolutely love this movie. You're not gonna convince me this movie's not the bee's knees comedy, right? As much as I love Superbad, Step Brothers, those films, I'll put this higher than those just because I just love. Actually, I don't know. Life and Superbad might be the same. Step Brothers was definitely a notch lower. But Life and Superbad are like 1A, 1B. Sometimes like this one over this one. Just depends on when you ask me. But I can quote so many quotes from that movie. I love seeing the TikToks too. When he's like, "You got something up your sleeve, right?" There's so many quotables from this movie that I can literally go into. But again, I can gush about this movie all day long. That's my review of the movie Life. Thanks for tuning in to the episode of Coffee and Comments.